Back with you here on SportsGrid as we get set for a little bit of a WNBA breakdown. We'll get back to the New York Knicks when we talk some rumors and what we are hearing. Live with you on this Saturday, Kevin Walsh and Tom Vecchio. And the WNBA right now going through their Commissioner Cup stretch for the league. We saw a couple of games last night, which included Connecticut upsetting the Atlanta Dream. We do have 3 games on today's slate. And if you are CBS, it is a sad day, let's be honest, because you had an 8 o'clock prime spot, no NBA Finals, no Stanley Cup Final, and you get what is still probably the marquee matchup in this league, which is incredible, but it is Sky Fever. No Caitlin Clark. It's a 2.5-point line in favor of the Road Fever here. The Sky have won 2 straight entering this game. They've not played in a week for some reason because the WNBA schedule occasionally is just all over the place. So we've not seen the Sky play in a little bit. The Fever, again, road favorites, but without Caitlin Clark, Tom, they do enter this game coming off of their first win since the Clark injury.
See that it's like you get after Caitlin Clark is injured. Like, okay, you lose to New York, we understand that, right? Mm-hmm. Very, very simple. Then you lose to Washington, and then you lose to Connecticut. Mm-hmm. That's unacceptable. Then you bounce back, and then you finally beat Washington. So the level of consistency we're getting from the Fever, obviously, it varies, but this is a matchup they should be winning. How many times on this show to start the season has Coach JY, who's not here, will be back next week, we'll be here with you tomorrow, has talked about the Chicago Sky being one of, if not the actual worst team in the league. Mm-hmm. So to me, this comes down to seeing a well-rounded effort, and that's going to start with Kelsey Mitchell and then Dwana Bonner, both putting together good games at the same time. They won Kelsey Mitchell, 24 points in the most recent game. Dwana Bonner, only 9 off the bench. So between her, Bonner off the bench, and Aaliyah Boston, it has to be a 3-headed monster for them. It can't just be one of them doing the heavy lifting by themselves. So I think the Fever come away with it. Again, we can't get into too much to a player talk about the Chicago Sky unless you want to.
I mean, look, the Angel Reese piece of it, we probably will a little bit. I just want to – the one thing that I've noticed, Tom, the MVP odds for Caitlin Clark are sitting very steady. Mm. And since we've last been here on this show, the Aja Wilson odds have fallen back quite a bit. We did talk, I believe it was on this show, about how Breanna Stewart's – I don't know if it was 60 or 80 to 1 at the time number, could grow shorter if the Liberty keep looking this great, and they just keep looking this great. So that number's been cut down quite a bit. But it does, I am not sure what it is that is specifically stopping the books from moving the Clark odds back. Is it just a fear of bets? Are people betting the Clark number? Is there this belief that when people are voting at the end of this season, we're going to remember the struggles that they're going through right now in her absence as one of the primary cases to make?
I mean, it's going to be any combination of those things where Nafisha Collier is going to have unbelievable stats, but you could say that the team around her is so much stronger and therefore – they're not going to move that number. Yeah, I think part of it is that they're never going to hang a 5-1, 6-1 number on Caitlin Clark. Just out of pure, solely protecting themselves, right? It's just pure risk avoidance from the books.
Okay.
So you're never going to get an 8-1. You're never going to get a 9-1. They have to keep it at a spot where it is at least enticing to bet, but is also reasonable from a risk management perspective. We can make the case that I believe Aja Wilson, she was at 8-1 last week, down 12-1.
Back to 12.
She shouldn't be there. To me, it should be 5-1, 4-1.
And that's what I'm saying. Is the other numbers then are jumping a little bit off the page because the Clark number has to stay in a certain range. Again, Caitlin Clark right now has only played 4 games. but 19.6 boards, 9.3 assists, and a team that at the time was 2-2. They had just really pushed to Liberty. She had 3 double-doubles within those 4 games.
Triple-double to start the season.
Yes, certainly so, which was, what a moment. The thing is, you look at this race right now, and the Nafisha Collier number is kind of, even that number now feels a little strong to me. So she's averaging 25 points a game, which is a league best, and just about 8 rebounds. She's an excellent player. But when you look at the 2 pillars of this award for the last, which are A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart,
For the last however many years.
just using some very basic advanced numbers. Player efficiency rating, PER, again, not your favorite, but there's certain numbers you don't have at your disposal for the women's game yet. A'ja leads at 33.3. Fee is second at 31. Breanna Stewart is actually third in PER. Win shares, Breanna Stewart's first at 2.2.
Makes sense.
Fee is at 2, and then A'ja Wilson is tied for 5th at 1.5. It is interesting, though, that Fee right now is not first in either 2 of those statistical categories. I think the driving force for Nafisha Collier is the fact that the Lynx are unbeaten. Now, she missed a game. They won the game. They only won it by 3, not covering effort. I look at this race right now, and again, the market is telling us it's probably Fee, but if it's not, it's Caitlin. That's not my read on this race at all.
I think it's simply Nafisha Collier is just like the best player on the best team. But that can't be the case when...
But they're not better than
the Liberty are just as good.
They're better right now.
Right. So that the Breanna Stewart and A'ja Wilson numbers, if you have no position on any of these, those would be the most interesting to look at. And again, Caitlin Clark is a fine number, but again, it's never going to move. It's always going to be in that same spot just out of again, risk.
How many games in a row does she have to miss, though, for it to move? Because at some point, availability is a part of these arguments.
It will be, and then it comes down to breaking down a per game basis. She may score more points. She may have this, but she didn't play as many games.
Yeah,
that's a conversation we have in every sport.
Absolutely,
more so in the NBA compared to the NFL, just because.
There's the games minimums and things like. But Big Eagle show today. Jalen Hurts was favorite to win league MVP with 3 games left.
Yeah.
4 maybe, and ended up getting injured. He didn't win the award.
No.
They lost games without him.
It's true.
The prevailing notion was not, told you. That's not what they did. That's just, so I'm not sure, again, when it's September, we're going to go, and this is the other thing that I think is really working against Caitlin Clark now, is if this is a 4-woman race, 2 of the teams are unbeaten at 8-0.
Yeah, and
the Fever are 3-4.
And the fact that Breanna Stewart's number is 30-1 is insane when you're looking at essentially it's essentially the same scenario in Minnesota as it is in New York.
Yep.
Best player on the best team, and the numbers are dramatically different.
Yeah, you have 2 players. Yeah, it's basically, I think, so this will work, right? So Nafisha Collier is SGA, right? And then you've got Breanna Stewart is essentially, she's so much greater than Donovan Mitchell, but 64-win Cavs. And then A'ja Wilson is Jokic.
It's true.
Because the statistical dominance is crazy. And then you've got, maybe Stewie is Tatum. Like that, I was wondering, but Stewie's won MVPs and Tatum never will. But A'ja Wilson is Jokic. So who's Caitlin Clark in this race? Okay, well,
that's a good question.
You know what I mean? Is there room? It's hard to squeeze through that race. And even if you remove Stewie, because the numbers say she's not going to win it, we've got her SGA and Jokic.
Yeah, we do.
There was no third candidate this year in the NBA. Fascinating stuff.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups. My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it's taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid. All right, back with you here on this Saturday. Talked a lot about the WNBA MVP race. We didn't get into the games as much. We can we'll do some of that within our best bet segment at the end of the show.
I do like the Fever today, -2.5.
I was going to say, are there any sides you're interested on this slate?
That would be the only one. Star of 2.5. Again, they are just the better team, even without Caitlin Clark. The question is, what would this number be with Caitlin Clark?
8.
Yeah, I was going to say 6.5, 7.
It's weird because the Sky have. How do you factor in like this? It only happens in the W. They're off a bye week.
It's
like
true.
I don't like, but it happens in this league sometimes. Like, does that make you like them more, less, or ignore it?
Ignore it. Fever. Listen, say you want to know the Fever played recently. They played on Tuesday, and they actually looked good on Tuesday. Actually, finally put together a full effort without Caitlin Clark. Mm-hmm. They could cover this number and they win by 5. They win by 5 or 8.
Yeah, for me, the side that jumped out was Phoenix and Seattle. Again, I've mentioned it every time.
You're very high on Seattle.
This number's crazy, though. It's just not representative of who they've been. Like, I see the Seattle number, I'm like, see, I wasn't crazy for liking them. But 6.5-point favorites at Phoenix. This is a team whose last 4 games, it's 3 losses and then a 6-point home win against Dallas. I don't think you've got to cover in any of those 4 basketball games. You don't. Like,
so you're saying that we should be selling Phoenix stock right now? Because that's what it is, based on where they are in the standings.
What I would say, there's a couple of teams right now that are dominant against the number. Like the Liberty have been really strong. There's teams that have been just good at covering numbers. Phoenix is 6-3 straight up. I know they covered against, like, Minnesota's not good at covering numbers. Right. So I would, even if I think Seattle's going to win the game, I actually think Phoenix can stay inside at home. I know they have some injuries in the matchup here. Let's talk a little NBA draft with you, of course, NBA coverage. We'll go all the way through the NBA draft, a little bit into the offseason. We always have our NBA coverage here on SportsGrid, and we're starting to get more odds out in the market. So you've got, these Cooper Flag, Dylan Harper prices that say they are going 1-2. And then you have plus money everywhere else, which expands to the 3rd pick, the 4th pick, the 5th, and the 6th pick, which is nice to see. We are also now seeing the integration of the odds to be a top 5 selection, where VJ Edgecombe and Ace Bailey are above minus 1,000. So I think one thing that stood out to me, Tom, is right now the books are saying we know who 4 of the first 5 picks are going to be.
Right. That's what it comes down to, and this is something that we've seen develop over the past few weeks, where we talked about Dylan Harper and or Ace Bailey at 2.
Yeah.
And we are operating under the assumption the Spurs do not trade their pick. Correct? We have.
Well, the thing is, if they don't trade the pick, every indication is they're just going to take Harper.
Right. But I don't think that's the case.
But, I just don't. That's almost why I think they're going to. I am somewhat giving up on the idea of there could be value around the Harper thing, because it seems like if the Spurs don't trade it, they're just going to still take Harper because he's the best player.
Yeah.
And if they do trade it, the team who's coming in to get the pick probably wants Dylan Harper. So it's come down, though. Remember, it was minus 2,400, went up to 5,000, and now it's down to 4,000. So, it's not.
Because if the point I'm making is if we know he's going 2, are we just shooing in Ace Bailey at 3, or do we entertain the discussion of Edgecombe and or Con Knippel as
I think Edgecombe is much safer, and the odds suggest it, to go top 5 than Ace Bailey. If you gave me, the over-under draft position for Bailey would probably be 4.5 when it gets posted, right?
Right. It has to be.
If it's 3, so maybe it'll be 3.5. I would like over.
I think 3.5 is more reasonable. And
juiced over, it probably would be.
Right.
But I would look towards. I also think in terms of those top 5 pick odds, you're seeing his name now tossed around a lot, but Kamal Malawach at plus 370 is a number I could see getting on the move. There's a lot of teams that are interested in Malawach, and I am too.
And this is where, the over 3, because we could just say, okay, flag, Harper, maybe Edgecombe goes 3.
Okay.
And then now we're on the line of okay, Bailey may not be going 3 or 4. And Malawach then goes 4, and then boom. And he slips to 5.
And the throw those draft odds up again for me, fellas. I don't want to get this wrong, but I believe Washington is picking. No, Utah's picking 5th. That's right. Washington picked 6th. Would Utah pass on Ace Bailey? Washington wouldn't. I know that for sure. But would Utah or Charlotte pass on Bailey? Maybe. I think it's possible, right? What is Charlotte prioritizing these days? I mean, it should just be whoever they think the best player is.
Best player available, but that's it.
Ace Bailey's not had the cleanest pre-draft process. All of a sudden, they're like, yeah, he's 4 inches shorter than everybody thought.
Yeah.
Wasn't ideal for Ace Bailey.
I don't know if he fits in that offense. It's part of the problem. It's best player available, but is he the thing that they need?
If Ace, where the height thing hurts a little bit is there was a moment where it felt like Ace Bailey was a 4, like a stretch 4, and now it's is he a 2 guard? That whole thing just got weird.
That's what I'm saying is if he needs to be ball dominant, he does not fit in Charlotte.
So the thing about Ace is I saw a comparison. I don't remember from where. I almost wish I never saw it.
Oh, boy.
Because you can't unsee it.
Who?
He's Michael Porter Jr. And I'm telling you right now, after hearing that, just go watch some Ace Bailey tape, and you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Now, the hope with Bailey is he's younger, and there's more time to develop, and maybe he's a better defensive player than Michael Porter Jr., but that is the idea. My thing is, can you LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Ace Bailey, is that your trio? I don't know. There's a moment in time where it's that's wonderful.
It's fun, but is it right?
That's the question. We'll talk some more draft and trade rumors with you after this break.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last two NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid. All right, we're with you right here on this Saturday morning. We're talking draft, figuring out all this stuff, and here's how we'll tie it together. The Kevin Durant news this week.
Spicy.
One of the most interesting parts of the Durant news was seeing the notion that he may not, the asking price for Durant might not be all that high. And it's something I've talked about on shows in that I can't tell if people can just, if you're going to be able to get Kevin Durant for cheap. The funny thing of that is, if all of a sudden KD can be had for cheap, Tom, instead of like 4 teams are on the phone, it's like 14 teams are on the phone, and then the price just gets driven back up anyway. But there's this vibe to me now. It's like, hey, KD's available, right? And the San Antonio Spurs are on the other line, and they're trying to see if they can make KD and Wemby a thing. And again, the notion I get is the Suns will ask for the second pick, and then they'll get laughed at and be told, here's 14 and Devin Vassell, and you'll like it. And I just can't believe that that's potentially what a Kevin Durant asking price is, and it's what makes this KD situation that we're hearing the Suns probably want handled before the draft.
Oh, absolutely.
So puzzling to me.
It does, and part of that would come down to, again, that would be the the first domino to fall for the Suns, because it has to be getting out of that Bradley Beal deal.
I just don't think they can. I know you bring it up, and I get why, but I just don't know how you get out of it.
So if they're willing to take less for Beal, at least you get something back, and then you would also, if you can take a good amount back for KD, it's like, listen, we got enough for KD. We will also move Beal, and we'll have enough. That way, the sum of them makes everything look better. So, again, this is what we talked about ago. It can't just be getting rid of Tom Thibodeau. They have to improve the bench. They have to move off of KD and move off of Bradley Beal's contract to make the sum of the offseason greater than just 1 or 2.
Here's my thing on Beal.
No one can take on the contract.
Well, do you think any team whose goal next year is to push for 50? Okay.
The answer is 0.
Well, then if I'm the Suns, I'm already at an asset deficit.
Yeah.
I can't attach more. I can't attach anything to get rid of him. I need somebody that wants him on their team. Like if the Brooklyn Nets are like, no, we don't want to lose games next year. So we'll just fine. Like, we'll take Beal and maybe the talent works for us. Beal also has a no-trade clause. So there's that whole insane thing of this, that he may decline it all anyway.
It's true.
So there's this KD Cat piece of it.
Yeah.
You know, there was a report the other day that maybe the Suns won't be that interested in Karl Anthony Towns. I'm not sure I fully believe that in the moment. I think Devin Booker would be.
But then there was a report saying that the Suns' biggest concern in the offseason is getting a big.
Yes. Cat's an interesting player in that it's like, oh, we want a center, but then sometimes like, not that center because the defensive question marks that could potentially come with it. If I just said to you right now, Kevin Durant for Karl Anthony Towns straight up, who says no?
Knicks fans won't say no. Mitch Rob, KD, Brunson.
There are some Knicks fans who are panicked about it though, because of KD's age and health.
That's totally reasonable concern, but it's not like Towns has been a bastion of health throughout his entire career. He's been better recently.
He's so much younger though. Like, you expect him to just play way more than Durant.
Absolutely, but is that the piece that's needed? Because if you have Mitch Rob in his defense and rebounding, plus the offense from KD, does that offset what Towns brings, in summation?
This is the thing with, like, a Cat Towns debate. Or, excuse me, a Cat KD debate. If you were ranking players' value over a course of the regular season plus playoffs, I'm not sure KD should be ranked in front of Cat. But if all that matters next year is when the playoffs begin, it's still KD. Again, through that prism, KD's still like a top 7 guy in the league.
Absolutely. You give me a healthy KD with defense around him and Brunson running the offense?
He's just the all-time bucket getter. It's like, if he's on the Knicks next year, what are they to win the East? They're the favorites.
Oh, yeah.
That's the selling point, if you will. All right, quick break. We're live with you here on this Saturday morning.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last 2 NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid. Back with you here on SportsGrid, and we're, going through the rumor mill, and, I think one of the fascinating things we talk about what it takes to win a championship, and I think we've seen some people look who's in the finals this year at OKC and Indiana and be like, oh, maybe you need this, maybe you need that. Talent ultimately is why OKC is still minus 330 despite trailing in this series. And if you're the Knicks and you can bring in Durant, that's going to be tempting. And I think the Giannis piece of this, Tom, is a fascinating one. My thing on Giannis and the Knicks, I think it only happens if Giannis forces his way to the Knicks.
To an extent, yeah.
And I don't – look, he is clearly gun-shy on even requesting the trade. I don't know how short of a list he's willing to hand in. I know I did the Giannis list, 13 teams long. I could give you them if you want, but you want?
Let's go through it. There's no reason not to.
All right,
because I agree. Again, to your point, he's a little gun shy to go to them. I think he wants to have the situation resolved. Be like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
This is best for both of us.
Yeah.
And no, if you happen to trade me, that's cool with me.
Yeah.
But it's best for both of us.
So, you know what? Actually, let me find. Hold on, I'll do this. We'll have some fun with this. I'll give you They were kind of broken up into tiers.
I mean, that's what makes the most sense of who has the salary, who has the assets to trade back.
Yeah.
I know people floated the discussion or the hypothetical of, the Spurs have the 2 pick, so could they make a Wemby-Giannis pairing work? Because, and again, that does make at least some sense from the Bucks' perspective, where you get back some of the young players, a Keldon Johnson plus the 2, and then that makes sense from them.
All right, so here's my Giannis list, kind of tiered out.
Okay, here we go.
3 spots where he goes, he's the face of the franchise, because that somehow still seems interesting to him, despite the fact he's leaving a place where he's the face of the franchise. The Nets, the Raptors, and the Heat.
Yeah, the Raptors. I keep hearing the Raptors.
K-Dub had him on that Giannis list before everyone was hearing it. Okay. Here's my thing. Brooklyn we've seen the Brooklyn connections, and if that was the thing, then the Raptors thing had to be on the board.
Yeah.
Because he goes, if he ends up a Raptor, he's minus money to be one of the 3 best players in the history of the franchise. It doesn't run that deep.
Yeah.
And
I can think of 3 off the top
there's
of
Lowry, Carter, and DeRozan. Is that where you're Kawhi is somewhere.
Yeah, Lowry, Carter, DeRozan, Bosh.
Yeah, Kawhi.
But
again,
that's it.
Giannis plays like 5 seasons there. He's a top 3 Raptor ever. The Masai Ujiri connection. Yeah. I thought Miami, again, could I see him wanting to be a Heat? Pat Riley? Maybe. Okay? So that's 3.
But there's been a connection to them before.
Yeah. There absolutely has been. So that's 3.
Brooklyn.
Yes. And he's just been connected to Brooklyn regardless.
Yeah.
Then there's just the simple, I want to stay East because the East is weak.
Easy, yeah.
Boston, Knicks, Sixers.
I would put Knicks, Sixers ahead of Celtics. There's just me personally, but
yeah, that's not in a specific order, but that's, to me, again, if he gets to Boston, it's a situation where now I'll forgive the Celtics for secretly rushing Tatum back, because I know they're going to try and rush this kid back. But if by the start of next playoffs, all I tell you is Tatum is back and Giannis is on the team, I think Boston's favorites to win the title.
Oh, yeah.
So, there's something there. The Sixers piece of it is fascinating.
The Knicks, he's immediately the star.
Yeah, they're the easy favorites in the East. I think they would be closer to win the title. I think they'd be closer to OKC than the 3rd team.
Yes.
If he's on the Knicks. Superstar phone call. One of these is obvious, the other is not. If Steph calls him, I think he's interested in the Golden State piece of it.
Of course.
If Durant calls him, I think he'd be interested in the Phoenix piece of it. I think that he admires Durant. They've talked about that.
Yeah.
It would be a crazy 180 for Durant to go, instead of leaving, I'm going to bring in Giannis. But if Devin Booker was on the board, the Bucks would be interested in that. So I put the Suns on the list. It's not going to happen.
I know.
But I put them on the list. There were 2 teams that got their own tier.
Okay.
The Lakers, because they're the Lakers. You can't make these lists.
Saying just a wild card tier?
Almost.
Okay.
The Lakers, because they're the Lakers. They're in everything conversation. I have no idea how it would ever happen, but there you go.
Yeah.
And then there was the Mavericks, because if Dallas just went, no, we're going to keep pushing all in, and they put Cooper Flag on the table, they'd probably the Bucks would probably trade him no matter what he wants. But it seems like they're going to draft Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
So That was that. And then there was 3 left. And it's the front runners.
Yeah.
The Rockets, the Spurs, and the Thunder. Ultimately, if those teams come with their best offer and Giannis is not going to force his or is fine going there, he's going to one of those 3 teams.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. The question then, in my mind, moves to, what salaries have to be moved alongside just to make the math work. Because if you say the Mavericks, the question is, can they keep his salary alongside Kyrie, alongside AD? And I just don't know that off the top of my head.
Yeah, Clay has to go. There's a lot of people that, but again, like part of it is in making that list, right? It all comes down to how aggressive is Giannis going to be in picking his landing spot.
If you're asking me to make a list, I would say the Spurs, the Nets, the Raptors, plus a Steph Curry call are the top options.
You like those the most?
Yeah, that's right. And again, and part of it's just it's easy. The Raptors don't have any big contracts that I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's Scotty Barnes is like the centerpiece of the trade.
But that's nothing compared to other franchises. A Beal contract is insane to move, plus KD and Booker. Like the Raptors and Brooklyn, from a money standpoint, make a ton of sense.
Well, yeah, Brooklyn, the thing is they're just offering a gazillion picks. But
they have a gazillion picks, and they can move things around.
Brooklyn does not, that's the thing about Brooklyn is you would think a team that, like the Spurs and the Rockets, like, oh, we have all these assets, right? Like, the Nets don't have a player to offer. Every one of these teams can offer a guy. Castle, Şengün. If the Thunder are in, right, it's Holmgren. Or it's J-Dub. Like, the Nets guy is Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
The Heat could, even if they don't want to, the Heat would be like, we'll give you Bam Adebayo. The Nets don't have a guy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what's part of it. It's like it would be picks plus. They wouldn't trade Claxton.
It's just all picks. It's all picks.
You think? What about Cam Thomas?
Well, they can have anyone they want. There's not a player on the Nets that they care about.
Absolutely true. So
like
it's Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, and picks.
But if the Bucks were like, we want Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, Cam Smith, Cam Stewart, they're all on. They're all going. You know what I mean? Like that's just that's all it's going to be. So I think it's one of the fascinating pieces of this.
It's true, and it's part of the unknown. And the question becomes is how soon does this happen in conjunction with the draft? Because if a team wants that second pick, the Spurs, for example, we're talking 2 weeks away.
Let me bring this into the finals. Where do you land on the idea of the Thunder trading for Giannis?
They would have to get swept for me to entertain that idea.
So, if they win,
you're not breaking up the band. You have Holmgren, SGA, you have all these guys locked up long term. Yeah. It's okay. Can you keep every bench piece? Can you keep Caruso? Can you keep the other Jalen Williams? Can you keep Lou Dort? Because some of these guys are going to be enticing to other teams. Yeah. It's like, hey, we have our core. Let's refine things. I don't think they would change things.
My thing is, OKC has stockpiled these things for years to be able to make this kind of trade. And if next year SGA and Giannis are on the same team, they might be minus money to start the season and win the title. Why would they risk the Spurs having Giannis and Wemby when they can have Giannis themselves? And that then enters the world where, regardless of result, I think the trickier thing is, especially if they win, Giannis going, I'm not going to the Thunder. It's the Durant mistake.
Yeah, my next move.
That Players Tribune article, what a mistake for old Durantula. Quick break, back with you, breaking down game number 2 of the NBA Finals.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups. My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last two NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it's taken so long. Just forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid. Okay, with you here on a Saturday morning, getting ready for Sunday night, game number 2 of the NBA Finals. OKC is an 11-point favorite. The total in this one is 228.5. I want to start with this. We're going to go just star for star quickly.
Yes.
What do you expect from Tyrese Halliburton in game 2?
I would like to see fewer turnovers, but you can say that about the Pacers just overall.
Fair.
I think a higher level of consistency is probably the easy answer instead of saying, oh, you have to go play Superman at the end of the game again in order for us to win it and hit a miracle shot again and again and again. The 6 of 13 isn't good. And whoever made the joke, though, tour date lines, whatever that joke I saw going around, was like, you can't be shooting tour date lines in an NBA Finals game. I would say start the game strong, end with 19 instead of 14, and cover but don't win. So I think that's like an acceptable outcome.
I'm gonna give you a comparison. It should be up your alley, but you tell me if it lands.
Okay, here we go.
Especially in the beginning of the game, in the first half, Tyrese Halliburton was giving me Juan Soto vibes. Not with the Mets, but more like in the struggles, but with the Yankees in this way. Sometimes Soto will get to the plate, and you're like, man, we need a hit. And he's like, yeah, well, I'm probably going to walk. And it's like, brother, it's hard for me to get mad at you for walking because that's a positive at bat. But stop swiveling your hips and put one in the seats or give me a double. I need a little bit more. And Halliburton is, again, really in the first quarter a lot. It's like, look, Hallie, I get it. You're making good passes. I get it, man, right? You're pulling away good defenders. Everyone else on your team right now is falling all over themselves. Take the ball and be the one who makes the decision. Up your usage rate. I don't need you to shoot it because there were people who were like, oh, you need to start playing like SJ. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I think what you're alluding to is like you need to have that killer instinct a little earlier. Like this is my team.
Just take some swings.
Yes.
Hey, listen, Hallie, I don't need every shot you take to be the best shot of all time, but also you give it up a second later. Just earlier in the game. That's what I was wanting to see. The thing is, they won the game.
It's true.
So
it's like the revisionist history we were talking about pre-show. It's like, listen, he started off bad. They turned it over, but they came away with the win, and everyone's talking about his heroics. But in reality, 2.5 quarters were okay-ish to bad.
I think the only thing for Halliburton, again, just an uptick in aggression I expect. And it does not, by the way, have to be in attempts.
Right.
It's usage.
Be a threat.
Yes,
Be a
it's
threat.
my pass is not pushing the ball up the floor. My pass is an assist. I'm hitting the, you get a little of that TJ McConnell in you where it's like I make every decision for some reason. They let me out here. So then we get to SGA.
Yeah.
38, 5-3, 3 made threes. What do you expect in game 2?
If you score 38 again, and the team continues to have an issue, I think the Pacers are alive to win the series. I think it's that simple.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to say, have a more vocal voice, and maybe sound a little bit redundant, but like, hey, we need Chet out here. I need my running guy with me, right?
Coach the team.
Yeah,
Good team.
yeah, right.
I like this take.
Right? I need my guy with what has worked all season. What has worked all season is we have a balanced, dynamic offense between him, Williams, and Holmgren, and be like, I need my guys out here. We got to do what works best. And what works best is the way we've played. 100 some odd games that they played at this point. Stop messing around. I don't need to score 38. I need to score 30, and I need to have my 2 guys with me that I know that work. Like, that's what he needs to say in a meeting. Like, listen, enough of this nonsense. I don't need to score 40. I need to score 30 and have 2 guys that can score 15 and 20 with me.
That rocks. I really love that breakdown. I think that's really good. I'm going to shorten that all to coach the team.
Maverick needed Goose. Maverick couldn't do it by himself. He needs Goose out there with him.
No, but listen, there's a level. When you're the best player in the world or flirting with that air, there are certain things that become your responsibility that shouldn't be, and telling your coach he's messing up is kind of one of them. So I like it. What I'll say from Shea, I think his rebounds and assists is going to be a market I'm going to really look at, but his aggressiveness to start that game was incredible.
Yeah.
It was so special. He took 12 shots in the first quarter.
He had 14 points, if I remember correctly?
I think it was 12. I think he
12?
landed on 12. I don't think we're hitting the break just yet. Sorry to throw anyone off back there. I think all good. He took 12 shots.
Yeah.
Now, the 2 games coming in, he also had scored 12 and 13 in the first quarter. It wasn't his most prolific first quarter scoring.
Right.
He has not had double-digit field goal attempts in any first quarter of this playoffs. He entered this as like, it's the finals. Whenever anybody else is ready to play, you can let me know, but I'm ready to go. I thought I cannot tell you how much I loved this basketball game. It was one of my favorite games I've watched because, and that's when you get like fresh blood in the finals. Like, every part of SGA was ready to play NBA Finals basketball.
Yeah.
But he has to clean up that efficiency a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if you are going to shoot 12 times and you're Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 5 for 12 from the floor, you want that to be better.
Right.
You want 7 of 12. You want 16 or so points. Like, I know that's a crazy amount to put on him, but if that's the workload, that's kind of what you need. Like, the overreaction that might not be overreaction is I don't know how he doesn't score 30 in every game this series.
Yeah, and that's, kind of been my take. The question is, in reference to his points prop, which is now 34.5, which is an absurd
Crazy.
line. The question becomes is, do we want to start taking unders, or is it just like, hey, we're not going to bet an under on SGA, but the line's very high?
I'm not taking an under. Again, my thing is, like, if you say, hey, he scored under 30, I would say, well, did he score 28, 29? And then the second thing I would say, so was it a blowout?
Or how did Chet do?
That's part of the reason why I love the over. It's like, hey, Chet scored 20. Sick. And I know SGA scored 35 because that's just, can that gimme it that he had in that first quarter, man? That's what it's all about.
He's like, I'm the best. This is my team.
He's like, there's no one here checking me. But then Andrew Nembhard was like, just give me some. We'll do best bets on the way out of here. I think we're on break. Okay.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
No one is going to pick Indiana. No one's going to pick Indiana to make it close, honestly. Like, you can't really, you could get tremendous odds if you pick OKC in 7.
I think that taking the series over 5.5 games, the last two NBA Finals series ended in 5. I think this one goes 6. I think the Thunder will get the job done, but I think the Pacers are just too strong of a team and too talented of a team and too deep of a team to lose in 5 or fewer games.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interest in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it's taken so long. Just forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid. All right, we're live right here on a lovely edition of Betting Above the Rim Pro Basketball today. It's Kevin Walsh, it's Tom Vecchio. We'll give people out there some trivia. Now, the thing is, the answer to this may not exist. But right before we came back in, Tom goes, who is that point guard for Duke that also played quarterback for Syracuse?
I'm pretty sure some guy, like 2008, 9, 10, somewhere around there. Greg Paulus.
There you go. There you go.
See?
There you
Wasn't
go.
crazy.
Well, that's still up for debate.
Wait, he played quarterback at Syracuse and played at Duke point guard.
Yeah. It was a little out of left field.
Yeah.
And
that's why sometimes we often say is like the conversations in commercials are sometimes better than the show.
Nah, the show was killer
was
show
great
today. Coach's value over replacement dropped by not being here. That's what we're hearing. That's what we're hearing. No, shout out JY again. Tomorrow night, Coach and I will be in the mix for you guys for game number 2 in its entirety in game live. Tom with Pro Baseball today. Tomorrow morning with Donnie.
10 to 12.
10 to 12. Let's do some best bets in a moment, but let's start this off. Put things in motion. 3-man weave as we give you some player props, which feature a little bit of today's WNBA slate. You might be worried, how are we going to do a 3-man weave with 2 guys? Pat in the back, producer, will help us out here and finish at the cup. Pat, sneaky good basketball player. Let's get into it, though, here, Tom. What do you got for me on today's slate?
Yeah, let's just turn to, as I guess you refer to as the Jokic of the WNBA, A'ja Wilson, over 23.5 points. I think this is a very, very fair line for her. Coming off a 9-22 shooting performance, I'm just going to say is okay. It's just not good enough, I think, when it's all said and done. And ultimately one of the easiest matchups in the league going against the Valkyries. So give me 23.5. I did look at the PRA, which was at, I think it's 35.5 for her, but I'll just give me just the points. I think that's as straightforward as you can get.
I like the points more than the rebounds, but to, kind of one of our conversations around Chet, but the other way, I'm actually going to be on her points and rebounds, I think, in this game, 35.5, because I think coming off of a single-digit rebounding performance, we could see that bounce back. Speaking of single-digit rebounding performance, Angel Reese 9 rebounds in her last game against Dallas. The game before that, 9 rebounds as well. Consecutive games with single-digit rebounds. That is how Angel Reese began her career with the Sky. The first 4 games is when she did not have double-digit boards in any of those games. And then it never happened in consecutive games again the rest of the way. In fact, it went 4 games with 9 or less rebounds, 12, 6, and then she had double-digit rebounds the rest of her rookie season. But I think that the points can pick up a little bit. She had 14 in the most recent game against Dallas. So I'm going to play the 24.5 points plus rebounds. I actually played that same bet in the game against Dallas where she had 14 and 9. To lose it because of the lack of rebounds was pretty surprising. But it's going to still keep me in the mix. And a nice job really by Pat giving everybody a little bit of something. Satu Sablé over the 19.5 points in the game between Phoenix and Seattle. A lot on Satu's plate right now with the absence of not just Kalia Copper, but Alyssa Thomas as well. So give everybody an idea of what you can do on the W. Best bets, though, we're talking game number 2 of the NBA Finals. Tom, start us off.
Yeah, let's turn to Chet Holmgren and under 25.5 points, rebounds, assists combined. It is sitting at minus 130. Again, I expect Chet to bounce back on offense. But to see him bounce back on offense and exceed the rebounding, I don't think are both happening in the same game. So he scored 6 points in game 1, 6 rebounds. Obviously, that's 12. But I'm not expecting a 20 and 10 line from him today.
Yeah.
I'm expecting a 14, 15 in that 6-7 range. So it's going to be a sweat, but I do think it's at the right side to take. And even if he gets to 20 points, again, 15, we're not getting a 20 and 6 kind of game out of him. That's not what I'm expecting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to see what Chet does here coming off of, I know, a disappointing game for himself, but I am going to cover for my guy. I think a lot of the blame is also on Dagnall for not playing him more and putting him in advantageous positions. I love the over in this game. 227.5 is what I bet yesterday. That number is up already to 228.5. I think it continues to move there. So get in while you can, and then tune in Sunday night to root in some points for game number 2 of the NBA Finals. Tom Vecchio, Kevin Walsh. We'll see you next time.
Falcons are actually relieved that he's kind of not there to create more of a distraction. Look, I mean, I said it the day it happened. It was one of the stupider decisions I've ever seen by a professional NFL franchise to sign a quarterback to a $180 million contract and then draft his replacement exactly 5 weeks later. This was a terrible organizational decision by the Falcons. Now, they're going to spin this, and this is what's annoying about the Falcons and their PR staff. They're going to spin this as if this is the plan we had all along. This is the plan that when, Kirk Cousins either got hurt or didn't play well or got too old, we were going to have Penix come in. And guess what? The new plan is now we're going to keep Kirk Cousins as a backup. So if Michael Penix gets hurt, we told you so. We were right for keeping him on the roster. We were smart for keeping him here. No, this whole thing has been an abject disaster.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of
15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Steelers' interested in Aaron Rodgers as a joke. Your boy went off about the entire situation and why it taken so long to forget him. Terry Bradshaw getting involved.
Yeah, and saying basically, what are you bringing him in for 1 year? All of this drama for 1 year at this guy, where he is now in his career is he's washed.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.